The controversy over plans by the federal government to use $1 billion from the Nigeria's excess crude account, which currently stands at $2.3 billion, to fight insurgency in the northeast, is far from over.
Indeed. When Nigeria's 36 governors last week had asked the federal government to use the money to prosecute the fight against insurgents in the region, but Ekiti State Governor Ayodele Fayose disassociated himself from that decision. Fayose alleged that the federal government wants to use the money for the 2019 election.
Fayose said the governors never discussed the approval of the money, but Zamfara State Governor and Chairman of the Nigerian Governors Forum, Abdulaziz Yari, insists the matter was discussed and agreed upon collectively. The decision has drawn massive suspicion and criticism from cross-section of Nigerians, despite the federal government's attempt to clarify the issue.
Vice President Yemi Osinbajo says the fund is not meant for the fight against insurgency in the northeast alone, but is also meant to tackle all security challenges confronting various states in the country, including policing in the states, community policing, and so on. All right, joining us from our Abuja studio is the national chairman of the Advanced People's Democratic Alliance, Kabir Shitu. Thank you for joining us on the show. Good morning. And
not to forget, we also have, we're also keeping Dr. Danekere with us, a senior lecturer with the University of Lagos, with us in the studio here. And we expect to also have Alfred Kemepadu from Port Harcourt, but he's not on right now. We have him as we get along. He's the General Secretary of the Ijaw Youth Council worldwide. I think let's start with you, Dan, in the studio here. This issue, this controversy has been on for quite some time, and moving into the election year, where 2018 is going to be very busy with the elections and all of that, and going back in history, knowing how these things play out when we're heading towards election, how concerned are you? Because Nigerians are very concerned.
Yes. Look, translate that $1 billion into naira. You're talking of over 300-something billion naira. As a matter of fact, if we go at the exchange rate of 365, that is, you are talking of about $1 billion naira per day. That is what will be spent. Now, on what? We need to be very clear on it. That we want to use $1 billion to fight security. Security is a very omnibus, something. It looks so, so unlimited.
And can be vague sometimes.
So vague. And interestingly, it is one area you don't even audit.
Exactly, I was about to say that.
You don't get anything about this is what we have done or this is what we have not done a lot. Now, what exactly do you want to use this $1 billion for? Are you saying that you no longer make budgetary allocations for security in Nigeria? Because we know that over the years, security has actually taken a major chunk of the budget. Now you are asking for extra $1 billion. At a point, you have told us that you have defeated Boko Haram. So if Boko Haram have been so defeated, so decimated, what are you using this $1 billion for? To regroup them or what? Are you using it to acquire arms? Are you using it to take care of the welfare of the soldiers? What exactly do you say, oh, it's not really for Boko Haram. For what again? Is it pipeline vandalism? Is it the Niger Delta militancy? Is it IPOB? These are no longer, factors. So what is that? Then you are talking about, is it community policing? Do you now want to adopt, state police that you can go to the level of the community or the normal policing that you...
Or the police that be asking for funds.
The government should be very specific. Should be very specific. And in any case, I do not think that the funds should be channeled towards whether security, call it the whole whatever security, Boko Haram and every other thing. I don't think that is proper. Make proper allocations for that, all right? Share this money the way it should be shared. Let every state, because every state has needs. You see, Nigeria is not...
And security needs.
Yeah, needs, so, and these are not things that the president alone should be taking care of.
But state governments are not in charge of security.
They are the chief security officers of their states, even though they do not have power over the police. But they still have other ways of taking care of security in their states. In Lagos, we have different security bodies. And they are funded by the state, not the federal government. So why will you take what the state should use to take care of their needs and channel it to Boko Haram, where there are already allocations for that? And you can still get more allocation. Okay. If you want environment, go to the National Assembly.
So let's
seek money for that.
Let's bring in Kabiru at this point. Thank you for joining us again. I hope you can hear me now. Yes, many have said that the government somehow gives reasons when it's convenient to it. At one point, it said that Boko Haram had been routed, that there's no more problem in the northeastern part of the country, that the military was carrying out mop-up operation. And then now, this amount, $1 billion, is to use to fight Boko Haram that we've been told many times had been decimated. Are you in support of this?
First of all, I want to appreciate Nigerians that are aware that this security fund, you know, that's democracy. They are now aware, they are now participating. Now, security is not what we'll be playing with. Because without security, me and you that we are talking now cannot be talking freely. And you cannot just say because you are budgeting, you can't budget for security. There are emergencies, there are issues that you need to tackle, that you need to make sure that you are above the board. I want to set an example. In 2006, I alerted Nigerians that they should look at this Sambisa forest and put gum Arabic plantation in Sambisa forest. If gum Arabic has been planted in Sambisa forest and we are put up cottage industry that these people are working in, it is also part of security. Now, we need this money because we must also follow the world. Maybe the federal government don't want to come out, but I knew as a person that look at what is happening in Palestine. We must have the bandwagon of that. The bandwagon of what created Boko Haram was Gaddafi's fall. Those equipment, those guns, those they fell into Nigerian hands. And it took us years now before we get to where we got to now. Will they wait until that spring, until we started getting the heat? The answer is no. Secondly, even if you have already designated Boko Haram, you still need to be able to monitor your border towns. There are a lot of equipment we need as a country. Our borders are porous. How do you guide these borders? I think what should be Nigerians should be mind of is to now say, okay, if you are taking so amount of money, we would like to see a monitoring mechanism so that we don't fall. Because in the Senate of 2007, go back to their vote, and they approved $1 billion for the same for this type of project.
All right,
and 70% of them return to the Senate. They are there.
Kabiru, let me stay with you. Let me stay with you on this. Now, we heard the governor of Ekiti State said they are not in agreement. In fact, he dissociated himself from this and said the governors were not in agreement. We also heard the report from report credited to the governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, saying that, well, if you're giving that to the north, don't forget the south as well. The south where the monies were made in the first place and all of that. Now, when it comes to the issue of trust and confidence, do you have confidence that this money is for $1 billion for Boko Haram at this time is justifiable?
For us, we believe that the country is the first. We are nationalists. And for you to be a nationalist, you must believe in your country. You must have confidence in the constitution that guides your country. You must have confidence in the leadership of your country. We must not politicize the issue of security because it will affect all of us. So therefore, I will urge them that they should not politicize this issue. They are leaders. They are leaders of repute. Nigerians respect them. And we should, this is time that we must, if it comes to issue of security, we should leave political issue apart. Parties should be, in 2019, we can all now go and slug it out. APDA as a party will bring up presidential candidate. We are going to also slug it out with the president. But what we are saying, now there are issues of security, and we must tackle this security. And as a nationalist, we must first of all start believing in our country. Because if you don't have Nigerian, where are you? If we have security problem, where are we running to? We will accept you. So we must, when it comes to security issue, please, we must look at ourselves as nationalists and look at the Nigerian first, not political party, not political affiliation, not where you are. No.
All right, we'll come to you in a bit. Kabiru, stay on with us. Let me come to you now, Dan. Of course, some Nigerians are talking about the need for transparency. That seems to be the crux of the matter, that the government will just take a decision and then just hand it down to the people for them to take. The power is with the people, but somehow in Nigeria, it doesn't seem to be so. So with you, what problem are you having with all this? Is it the money, like you said earlier, that is too much, it's very vague, or that the government doesn't even trust Nigerians enough with the information?
Now, I have a lot of problems with this particular issue. First, the man is talking about, who are the nationalists he's even talking about? I don't understand what he means by nationalist. Is it himself, or is it the leadership, or is it Nigerians? Who is he calling nationalist? It looks vague to me. Now, this particular issue, budgets are usually attached to projects. It is on the basis of the projects and the value of those projects that you arrive at figures. You want $1 billion for what? Be specific. Tell us what you want. Do you want to acquire arms or what? And the man is talking about, you know, security around the borders that are porous. Are you going to employ soldiers or police or what? What do you want to do with the $1 billion at a time that you've defeated Boko Haram? That's what we are saying. Tell us what you want to do with it. And in any case, who told you that it's only the Northeast that evil has problem? I am telling you that people who came in through that route are destroying lives here. Which one is more important?
That's why the vice president
is the money meant for? No, tell us clearly. Now, if it is meant for security generally, I am saying that let it go the normal way. States should take care of, you know, their security challenges. The federal should use its own portion to take care of, you know, these issues, because there are security challenges everywhere. I am not aware that the president has ever made any statement to the effect that the headsmen, or those criminals who call themselves headsmen, have constituted any problem at all to this country. He has not seen it as a problem. Now, those who are suffering this challenge should deal with the issue themselves. So that money, which is meant for all the states and the federal government, should be shared accordingly. The federal government, you have about 2.30 billion, and it's called excess crude account. All right, not foreign reserves per se. This is excess crude account. Okay, share the one that you should share. Then use the portion you need to tackle the Boko Haram issue. Channel it towards Boko Haram. You don't just begin to tell us that security, if there's insecurity, all of us will not move. Is it Boko Haram that will stop me from moving here? The one that is preventing me from moving is not captured. You've not even told us exactly what you want to do before you begin to think of collecting money. Tell us what the money is meant for. It's only when you come so openly that Nigerians will appreciate what you want to do. Now, that seems to be, you know, a bit so vague. That is what we are saying, that we need to know what is meant. And the man is saying that you don't make budgetary allocations for security. That is not correct. There have always been budgetary allocations for security. And even the leadership themselves, the governors, the president, they equally have security votes. They have enough security entourage around them. What those security votes are meant for, they are yet to be known. Whether it is to fund the police that are already funded by the federal government, whether it is to fund the soldiers who they carry along, and all of that, we don't know. Okay. So these are challenges that, you know, surround these monies.
All right, let me bring in Kabiru here. Kabiru, the military, we've interviewed ministers and those who are in charge of this, how to manage information on one hand and how to the fight against insurgency, military leaders and all of that. We've talked to them and they have called on Nigerians several times to assist with information, to assist in all of this intelligence gathering and information gathering at the local level, especially in the Northeast and anywhere else within the country. Now, that is pointing fingers to Nigerians themselves who are not involved in anything. But if you see anything or you see something, say something like they say. But when Nigerians are saying, government, we don't know what you are doing, your information is not reaching us well when it comes to money is voted for some of these things. Now, how will that affect how Nigerians respond and how Nigerians are ready to give information to government and even the military heads?
I want you to get one thing clearly. On the issue of budget, there are budgetary for security. But what I'm saying, even in the 7th Assembly, the Senate voted this $1 billion for this type of project, security project. But what I'm saying, there could be emergency. And you cannot foresee an emergency. You can only project for emergency. And when you project for that emergency, I only give one reason. Probably, something is going on about Palestine. Every country you see there are uprising. They could think of this. And then they can also be looking towards Niger Delta. And maybe the insecurity, or there are certain informations that you can share with public. There are certain information you don't share with public. Because you can't just give out your own security everywhere. But in order to earn the confidence of Nigerians, we also suggested that there must be monitoring mechanism. What are these monitoring mechanisms? They must say, okay, we have taken out this money. We are going to spend this money on so things. And then Nigerians will know. They will monitor it. They will know where this money is going to. What are you going to do with the money? Where is it going to? How is it going to be expended? In fact, we are suggesting to the security that instead of taking this money and give to personnel, to military leaders or to security leaders, you look at, if you are buying equipment, send this money direct to equipment manufacturing companies. Nigerians will see it. If you are paying for Nigerians will see it. There must be a monitoring mechanism where Nigerians now see. Then Nigerians will have confidence that, yeah, what arose this, I believe, is the former way. What happened when the former money is being expended? Probably that arose the suspicions of Nigerians. And you can't fault that. And that is why I said I appreciate Nigerians that we have now wake up. We are now asking questions which we don't ask before. Before, we don't care. When the 7th Senate budgeted for this $1 billion, nobody talk because we don't care. But today, Nigerians are now wake up. They want to know what you want to do with their 10 kobo. Where are these 10 kobo going? And so that is what I'm saying. We must have monitoring mechanism on whatever we are spending. Where are we spending it? How are we spending? What for? These are questions as a party we are also asking.
All right, apart from having a monitoring mechanism put in place, some are suggesting that there should also be a time frame for accountability so that after spending the $1 billion, nothing of security concerns should happen again in the country. And if it does, who do you even hold accountable?
If you have where those money go to, you hold them accountable. You see, the problem with this country, as we are saying, is that there is no punish. We must find a way of punishing defaulters. And then we must also fashion those mechanisms of punishing them according to our own culture as Nigerians.
The EFCC has been doing that already.
So if they know that if they default, then they'll be accountable for it.
Okay.
And then they'll be punished.
All right, Kabiru, let me put you on hold.
And that is what is happening now has arose those questions.
Yeah.
Because in those days, we don't ask questions.
Okay.
Now we are asking questions.
Very good.
If you have 10 naira now, you are careful.
All right, Kabiru, let me put you on hold here. Now, the point there is $1 billion after Boko Haram has been decimated, after Boko Haram has become like the horse that is dying.
Dying horse.
And a dying horse with the final kicks, as the case may be. They've used that several times. Can Nigerians say, let us even assume, create a scenario that this $1 billion is channeled into security and properly utilized? Can we say this will be the final end of Boko Haram?
It certainly cannot be. You see, no country in the world that is experiencing this level of insurgency has been able to overcome it permanently. You see, we have more sophisticated countries in the world that are still battling with insurgency. Indeed. All right? Now, we are not saying that money should not be voted for security challenges. But this particular way and manner is what I'm against as an individual. I'm saying that if you have need, okay, the man is saying that there could be emergencies. Is there an emergency now? If it is an emergency, there are equally emergency ways of approving money for spending from the Senate. So why not use this option? But what is meant for all the people should be used by all concerned. That's what I'm saying. Now, interestingly, he's saying that Nigerians are now asking questions. But unfortunately, he has not asked questions. He is only defending. All right? What questions has he raised? What question has he asked the government? Now, what has the government told him that not gave him the assurance that this money will be well utilized?
But then he made a suggestion that a monitoring mechanism should be put in place.
Monitoring what now? After the spending or before the spending? To
track the spending as it's
How do you track
spended?
the spending? You've not been told what this money will be spent on. So what are you going to monitor? That, okay, somebody is being allocated money to spend. After he has spent, you ask, what did you buy and how much? Is that the monitoring? At least at that point, the thing would have been spent. So if it's a question of, okay, we said you are going to buy furniture, so you're going to buy cars, and that is what you are monitoring. You'll be able to tell that you want to divert this money to building houses. That is proper monitoring. But where nothing is being said, nothing is clear that this is what we want to do with the money. And the only thing you can do is that we want to fight security challenges. Security challenges will never be with us.
Yeah, but for security reasons, for security reasons too, they have said it is not every information that will be certainly will be at the public domain.
Yes, no, not
so we don't expect them to tell Nigerians everything they're going to get, and
obviously,
especially when it comes to
I doubt if there is any problem that just comes to Aso Rock on its own. It's the people's problem that they solve from there. So there is no information that can be limited to only the federal government, except it's something that has to do with something outside Nigeria. If it's something we are suffering, there's no way the president will know it better than those who are suffering it. And I doubt if the president is suffering anything. It's the people who will be suffering the security challenges, not himself. So the people must know. Tell us where this challenge is other than the Boko Haram issue. So if you are able to tell Nigerians that there are social security challenges, there are security reports that suggest that there is going to be something. And in any case, it is even when you voice out some of these things that the people will know that you are already aware of their strategies and you are going to find a way of blocking it. That is why the police do show of force. All right? So we should be able to galvanize resources to the extent that we nip so many of these things in the bud. And so far, we are doing that. And we'll be funding it without necessarily taking from the SS crude account. We've always budgeted, and nobody has stopped the president from, the Senate has never stopped him from budgeting for security. Nobody has queried his budget for security that it's too much, it's too this, it's too that. So if you know that you need an extra $1 billion, put it in is it for immediate use? If it's for immediate use, go for environment. The Senate will approve. So why use this one that all of us should benefit? What I'm saying is that they have not been able to tell us anything that will warrant the withdrawal of $1 billion to be channeled towards one place. And by experience, from what we saw in the previous government, our governments are the same. Don't think that Buhari is a saint. He's not a saint, neither are the ministers and the rest. You see, and interestingly, the so-called APC you call is simply the same PDP that moved to APC. Was Amechi not in PDP? Or do I name them? Most of them, they were all PDP members. So that is the change you are talking about. The change on nomenclature, not of character. So it's the same thing. Government is the same. They all make ways. And you just heard Atiku and El-Rufai talking about sponsoring. And I know Buhari will not want a repeat of that, where the sponsorship of his campaign will be in the hands of some persons that he cannot control. The man wants to take charge. So I won't be surprised if these monies are being, technically being kept for 2019.
And
it has happened. So. And it will continue to happen. It has always been. It is, as we speak, and it will always be. The only thing you can do is that you might be able to moderate the volume and the pattern. Because the only challenge we had with the previous government was the level of impunity. Not because it was fraudulent. All the governments have been fraudulent. You see, if we go into the lives of those who are in government today, do an evaluation of what they earn legitimately. Let them not even spend a kobo since they were born. None of their spending, none of their earnings will be able to, match what they have today. So there are cases of fraud in practically the life of everybody. And those who even parade themselves as saints who are not in government are just waiting to be there to show what exactly they have. What we are saying is that don't take monies in such surreptitious manner in the name of security only for you to plan for 2019 election. Now, make it clear to us.
It's an allegation.
Yeah, we will continue to make allegations, and that's the only way you can hold them accountable, because until they're able to tell you clearly what this money is meant for, either you need to look at every mean to tie, what they want to do with it. And I have a right to make my reasoning. As a Nigerian.
So let's bring in Kabir at this point. Kabir, Mike pointed it out earlier, so I want your opinion on it. And now, River State Governor Nyesom Wike said that the government should give attention to the golden goose that lays the egg every time, that the government should put more energy now and put funds into the cleanup of the Niger Delta. Are you in support of this?
I'm in support of it, because let me, Nyesom Wike knows me. In 1992, 93, I was in that creek. I have reports which I can give out, which I wrote to say, look, these creeks, how will they be giving us the one that laid the golden egg? And we are here in Nigeria, and you are not doing anything to them. I was in that, I've been around that place. I've been there up to 97, I stay in Port Harcourt. I've gone to creeks, I've gone to Paratro in Bayelsa, I've gone to different side of, even in Delta. Then, it's not even now, when they don't even have potable water anywhere, where they drink from dirty waters, where it is the same river that they shit, that they go and drink. I support that. I support South-South cause. I'm one of the ardent supporter of South-South. But when issue of reasoning come, we must be reasoned. The man talking to you there, I don't know if it's a security. Now, if I want to man my border, will I tell the whole world that I'm buying social equipment to man my border? If I want to now start monitoring Niger Delta with so aircraft or something, will I tell Nigerians that I'm going to buy so aircraft for Nigerian? Yes, I'll tell when I'm telling them, I should also know that international and the criminals I want to fight are hearing it. Okay. And they will now counter whatever equipment I bought.
Yes, Kabir, unfortunately, so the issue of security is what right now. Kabiru, sorry, time is not on our side, so we have to end it here right now.
I hope you will not hurriedly let me stay out of this, because you need to understand that you need to announce to criminals that, look, I want to fight you.
We are getting ready.
And with that, we will run.
Sure,
okay.
Yes,
thank you, gentlemen. Yes. Dr. Daniel Kere, a senior lecturer at University of Lagos, thank you very much for coming.
Thank
and Kabir Shitu is the national chairman, Advanced People's Democratic Alliance, ABDA. Thank you for joining us from our Abuja studio. And we couldn't bring you Alfred Kemepado, Secretary of Ijaw Youth Council Worldwide from Port Harcourt, because of some technical issues right in there.